Greetings all. Thank you so much for joining us today for the first ever augmented reality book signing. My name is Nzinga Nomo. I'm the owner of Afriware Books Company, and we are proud to provide a platform for artists and authors to share experiences by and for the African community. We are over the moon excited about today's event. We will be joined by Kia Johnson, author of How Kofi Amiro became a hero, the hero to Amiro is one of the books. And the second book is O is for Oshun. I tell you, and it's not just a book. Again, it is incorporating augmented reality. And with my background in electrical engineering, this was of particular interest to me in bringing these two passions together. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Ms. Johnson, and then if questions come in, we will work them in through the chat. But again, I'm going to ask her to, if I leave anything out on her introduction, just ask her to make sure she feels free, not to be shy, to just share whatever she would like to bring to our attention. Okay, here we go. Okay, Ms. Kia Johnson is a dreamer from North Carolina. She dreams in color and creates with vision. This is the second, this one here, is the second book in the Magical Folk Fairy Tales Augmented Reality series. So, you know, I love that word series, sounds like there's more. She's having fun continuing to create the #1 destination for children's entertainment featuring main characters of color in her company called Rainbow Me Kids. So let's join our wonderful conversation with Miss Kia Johnson.
Was that they
Uh-oh, I missed the whole beginning, but don't worry. I'm gonna go back and I'll do that other part later. This is Miss Kia Johnson. We're happy to have her, and she is doing her wonderful introduction. Yes.
I knew then how important it was for kids to see positive images of real people at that time. It was, you know, they needed to see role models of people doing positive things in the community.
Yes.
And it kind of grew from there as I matriculated, just how important not only having real figures in life were, but also in the media they consumed. I always tell the story of, when I was in college, there was a class that I was taking, African Americans in media. And I was a Cosby kid growing up, right? Like I love the Cosby Show.
I did too.
Yeah, you know,
yes,
because I felt like the Cosby Show was an accurate depiction of my family. Like I had, you know, my dad's actually an attorney as well. My mom was my mom was a physical therapist. So you know, it was really a reflection of us, I really felt like. And then when I got into this class, I remember this was in college, some of my classmates who were also African American saying that they didn't feel like the Cosby Show was realistic. They didn't feel like it was a realistic depiction of a Black family. And so that, you know, so it was, you know, it was also a spark of, well, I think that was one of the first little sparks that came in. And then seeing Princess and the Frog was another spark that came in of how necessary it is for us to see reflections of ourselves in our content.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. so oh gosh, where to begin? Please tell us, where the idea came about to create something so unique and so technologically advanced. Where did that come from?
It came from Pokemon Go. I remember, I don't know if you remember, what was it, 2000, maybe 13 or 14, when everybody was falling into lakes chasing the Pokemon with their phones. Do you remember
I
that?
don't even remember that. No, I'm like
So,
Pac-Man. Okay, maybe
okay,
I'm a
okay.
little older.
So around
I'm
like 2000,
thinking
let's see, around 2000, I think it was 2013, 2014. No, it wasn't that early. I think it was going to be around 2016, actually. Pokemon Go was a game that came out. It was the first that I had seen of the augmented reality technology.
Oh.
Nintendo had put it out, and really people were going around. You would have to use your phone to capture the animals, capture the Pokemon animals in real time, in real space.
Mm.
And I say that people were falling in lakes just because really people were so engrossed in the phone that they weren't paying attention to where they were going, and they were falling into like bodies of
Oh
water.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow.
But the technology, I was so excited about the technology because I was like, I'm going to do something with that. And
Mm.
you know, fast forward a few years later. Well, let me not fast forward yet. When I started Rainbow Me Kids, I started as a video on demand platform, still with the focus of wanting to create or wanting to accumulate and create media for kids that featured positive images of main characters of color. But as a video on demand platform, it didn't work well for us. It was too expensive, and it was just too getting our customers where we needed them to be was too slow. So we had to pivot. But I knew I wanted to make sure that not only was I focusing on main characters of color, but I was also incorporating technology and trying my best to incorporate innovative technology as much as I could. Because not only were characters of color being left out of media, traditional media at the time, when you start going into gaming and things
Yes.
of that nature, it was, it was just,
Non-existent, probably.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Now it's got
Mm.
better now where you can kind of create images of yourself. But when the games do not have that option of being able
Right.
to create an image of yourself, the main images still for the most part are non-characters of color. Unless
So
it's a
consistent,
sports game,
unfortunately.
right? A sports game, or
Oh, I see. Oh gosh.
or like a violent game.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I wanted to make sure that I combined those two elements in what we
Mm-hmm.
created. I decided to I decided to create using folklore and fairy tale characters from around the world, really because it was one of those things where we had that time span. I mentioned Princess and the Frog. We had the time span of Princess and the Frog, and then we had the Black Panther, which is of course created from the Marvel comic series.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, there's so many more stories that are out there that haven't been created and emphasized, like your Cinderellas. Like there are 100 million Cinderella stories,
Oh,
and there's 100
yes.
million Snow White stories,
Yes.
and I'm like, there's so many other stories out there. And so just went on like a deep dive to find some of the stories, find some of the stories
Mm.
from around the world, and had the opportunity to create the characters as I saw, as in Rainbow Me Kids images.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I was like, okay, I want to bring these stories to life, but I also want to do it in a memorable way. So that's when we brought in the technology. And then in the first book, the first book, O is for Oshun, actually introduces there are hundreds, literally hundreds of stories. I picked 26.
Okay.
I picked
Mm-hmm.
26 characters.
26 letters. Yes.
Yes, and the first book, Otis Roshun, that you held up, introduces our characters that we selected from A to Z from all around the world. And I'll read it in a few minutes. And
Okay.
when I say it's the first, this was the first of the series, because while this book just introduces them, the goal is to have all of their stories developed in separate books. And this is the first.
Oh,
This is
oh,
the K character from Otis Roshun.
yes. Okay, good. That means plenty more coming on
Yes.
the horizon. Oh, that's great. That is great news. I'm like so happy about that. Because, whenever I see, it's like I was telling a friend, it's a second childhood, because when I was a child, there certainly weren't these powerful images to draw you in, which is why I didn't like to read, because it felt so irrelevant.
Right. Like I remember the stories my favorite stories growing up, and I know why, was like corduroy.
Yes, because there's no humans, right? Because
Corduroy,
it's just
you know,
animals, right?
right, corduroy, and only because even though corduroy centers around the teddy bear,
Mm-hmm.
the owner is a little black girl.
Oh, and that's the
Yeah,
only one you could find.
that's the only one that I can remember growing up. The corduroy, and then a snowy day. I liked a snowy day. Because again, it was another black character, but then I don't think Ezra Keats was black, so it's like,
It's not a black
yeah,
author.
it's not a
It's
black author.
not. No.
So
No.
and then,
Right. I mean, and what we're asking for is not, unreasonable.
yeah,
We should be able to find books with Black characters created by Black authors. That
right,
combination should not be rocket science.
right,
It shouldn't. It
right,
should be just easy, like easy.
right. I agree. And to your point, but I've been in this space now, I guess, for a couple of years. And one thing that I am happy to say is that I do see a lot more characters and stories featuring characters of color written by authors of color. I feel like I'm seeing more being created. In
Yes.
that also, though, what I don't see a lot of is still like what I call like fantasy characters, like the fairy tales and the I don't see a lot of them now. There are more out there as well, but I don't see as many of those than I see of appreciating brown skin and appreciating hair, which are important as well. But it's definitely a scale.
It's imbalanced.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally. I mean, just as an example, a little precious girl, maybe she was 6 or 7, came in with her father, and she had one request. Do you have a book with someone who looks like me? I'm just trying to use her words, who
Mhm.
has a dog. I was like, oh my gosh, what a
Simple request, right?
simple and yet profound. And I really had to, do a massive search, and I had to eyeball it. It was like, wow, this shouldn't be this hard.
Right,
It shouldn't be this
right,
hard, because this is such an everyday occurrence, a common occurrence.
right.
And so I'm so thankful that you are taking bold steps. I mean, not just um in other words, this has very deep, Oshun has
Yes,
very deep roots
yes,
that, you know, deserve a platform,
yes.
deserve exposure and interest and I just was really surprised to see, to be honest,
Well,
someone with her background, you know, her spiritual background
Mhm.
as well, highlighted so prominently. You know, in a way, though, I think that makes it more, I don't like the word palatable,
Right,
but
I
it's,
mean, but
but
it,
that's what I mean.
yeah. I definitely had to G-rate her story.
Gotcha.
But which is true of folklore and fairy tales in general. I mean, the Disney version of Cinderella is a G-rated version of
Mm,
Cinderella. When
there
you
you
look at
go.
when you look at where it comes from, it's like she did what with the feet? They did what? I mean, it's
Wow.
it's a G-rated, the Cinderella that we know, the Disney Cinderella that we know is a very G-rated version of the Cinderella
Wow.
from
You
its
see.
origins.
So you had plenty of uh, argument or debate material for those who might want to say, well, why her, blah, blah, blah. You're like, well, why not?
Why
It's right
not?
in line. Right
Yes.
in line.
Yes, she's
Mm,
it's an important figure in a lot of cultures,
yes.
and
Highly
celebrated figure.
venerated. Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
and she I feel like it's a deity is not the proper word, but Orisha. The Orisha in and of themselves are, it's a genre. I feel like that I would love to just know more of for myself, number one.
Yes.
But
Yes.
then, being able to just introduce kids to expose kids to spaces outside of what they may be used to. And
Yes. Oh,
not,
that's so
and it's
well
not,
put.
yeah, exactly. And it's not, I'm not pushing anything on anyone. It's an introduction.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you should know that this is an expression that exists, that you don't have to automatically discount or
Mhm,
demonize, or
mhm.
no, it's just another color flower, you know,
Right.
that's all.
That's it. That's it. Yes.
And you did that so well. Let me say that. You did
Thank
that so
you.
well by juxtaposing it with all the other folk tales in here. I loved that
Yeah,
approach that you
exactly.
used. That was
It's like,
really masterful. Yeah, yeah, that was,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Very, very well done. And okay, my other question, I have to ask you this
Yes.
because I thought somewhere I read that there's some connection with Beyonce. Is that,
Yes.
tell us more.
So 2000, my years are running together now. So 2020, maybe? I mean, I think it was 2020. Beyonce launched her Black Parade. Yeah, well, and it was like it was a huge. She had an album called Black Parade, but then she has
Mm,
a nonprofit, They Good, and on the nonprofit side,
mm,
they were highlighting um and awarding grants to Black-owned businesses,
This
and
is
we were
not covered. It's not covered that well in the media, but go ahead,
yeah,
please.
right. And so we were selected as one of Beyonce's Black-owned businesses that
Yes.
was awarded a grant. And actually, it was the grant that allowed us to complete How
Oh,
Kofi Amiro complete our second book um, as quickly as we
okay.
did. Because this one, we were able to turn this one around quickly. This one came out. O's
Mm,
Fortune came out in 2020, the beginning of 2020, and then we were able to get this
okay.
one out at the very beginning of 2021. So
Mm,
without Beyonce, thank you,
okay.
Beyonce.
Okay, people need to take note because they like to criticize celebrities for not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beyonce, that she and I don't want to diminish the number of Black-owned businesses that she helped with her grant, but it was she, and she actually partnered with the NAACP as well, and it were
Mm.
I know it was over 100, and I'm pretty sure it
I
was.
thought it was 200 or
I was about to say, I
something
know it was yeah, I think yeah, it was definitely
that
I
I
think it was like
read.
200.
I
Yeah,
said,
it
that's
was.
significant.
Yes. of businesses. Yes. Yeah. It was
Whoa.
it was really, and we're still like, she kept us up on her page on Beyonce website. You can find Rainbow Me Kids and
Oh,
the
great.
other businesses
Great.
on the Black Business Parade. So um, very, very grateful to her. Yeah. And her NAACP and her foundation
That
for
is
that.
beautiful. And when
Yeah.
I read about that connection, I would have guessed that this came out after the grant, but you said this came before.
No, it came before the grant, but
But it
I was introduced to Oshun from Beyonce's
really,
mhm,
look at
yes.
that. Look at that.
Yeah. So I was like, wow.
Whoa.
So
Oh,
that
that's
connection, like
beautiful.
Beyonce was still a, yes,
Yeah, yeah. She was an
still an
inspiration.
influence. Yeah, an influence and inspiration
Wow.
for
Wow,
why
wow,
we decided,
wow.
because for this to come out and then for her to come back, or for her to come after, and it was definitely a full
Mm.
circle.
So that makes me want to ask because I have heard that Lemon is the Lemonade, right? Video,
The lemonade
right.
video. I
Because
can't
I didn't
remember.
know for sure that she was being Oshun,
Mhm.
that was part of the discussion, but have you gotten to talk to her about
No, not
whether or
yet.
not? Okay, okay.
Not yet. Not yet.
There you go.
Not yet. I have put that out in the atmosphere that we
Gotcha.
down at a table and have a full discussion. That has not happened as of yet, but this is being recorded. So
Hmm.
make sure you
Yes,
pull this
yes.
out when you
Okay, I'm
really
gonna
see
tag her, right? Tag Beyonce. You need to check this out. Oh, this is the wonders of technology. Okay, let's see what happened with our views here. Our gel is now the speaker for some reason
I'm still
here.
here.
You're
it. Okay.
here, but okay, I don't know why. You're you're in my center view as if you are now the main speaker.
Oh
Hmm.
no.
Oh, there you are. You're back. Yeah, you
Okay.
just had to speak again, I think.
Okay.
Okay, okay. What else do I want to ask? And make sure um that I want to pause at a moment and see if there's anything additional you wanted to share that I haven't asked you about yet, about your journey through becoming an author, becoming an AR. I mean, I loved this. Okay, I do have to say this. This is where the part I really, really loved how there are three people, three different creators
Yeah.
listed to make this. Three
Yes.
different ones.
Yeah. Because
That's
I
the
don't
new
have
thing.
the technology. I knew
Hmm.
what I wanted, but I don't have the technological background to create it. And so let me go down the list.
So yeah, how did that? Yeah.
So Dan Tran was the illustrator, and
Hmm.
um, I I've seen so many images and types of images I've loved on yes on
Okay.
thank you, yep, that's Dan Tran, on pictures and on books. And I knew that I wanted the book to be able to stand out whether you use the technology or not.
Okay. Hmm.
Technology is definitely the cherry on top, but the book is a traditional book
Yes.
by itself. And
Hmm.
so and talking with Dan was amazing. Like I wanted to be very specific in traditional dress and traditional design when it came to the characters and what they were wearing. And even when you look at the letters, I know I'm gonna read it, but when you look at the
Oh,
letters in the
yes.
book, the designs, I wanted to make sure that they were a part of the countries of origin, and stick to the
Oh,
countries of origin of the design of the letters. So when you go through the letters, you'll see the different designs. And
I see. Yes.
And I wanted the characters to stand out and be 3D looking in and of themselves. So that was a process, but it turned out beautifully. Being able to communicate exactly what we wanted. Dan had was a visionary, and being able to really see kind of what I was trying to tell him. I think is a skill. Is one, it's a skill to be like, okay, I want it to look like this and this combined, and then I want these parts, and to be able to take all of that, like, here you go, and it's really what you have in your mind's eye is definitely a skill. And then
Gorgeous.
the Intellify is an amazing group of guys out of India.
Okay.
Who they are also visionaries, and I was able to tell them, like, hey, I want to make sure that the characters that are speaking, that they speak with accents that are also and native to their countries of origin. And I want them to add to the book.
Beautiful request. Beautiful.
It makes a difference. Like, images and sound and everything makes a difference.
It's authentic.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And so doing that, and then I said, okay, I want them to add to the book, but I don't want them to I didn't want them to read the book to the kids. I still wanted the kids to read the book, which they have to. They have to read the book. The characters, and even for both books, don't really read. And how Kofi Miro became the hero of Miro asks you to read along with them on a couple of pages, but it doesn't read the book for you. It adds an extra layer.
As a bookseller, I love that. You need both. I mean, when Kindles came, right? Kindles is like, okay, that's going to replace books, was part of the conversation. But this builds upon, so I love it.
Yes, exactly. And we start with books, and I look forward to when we can go and grow to in-person events. I'm really, I'll tell you what I'm really excited about in Zynga is the metaverse. And I'll say that. So you still have to have that balance, right? Because the metaverse makes sense for adults. Adults, we've grown, we know what reality is, and we know for the most part the difference between reality and virtual reality, right? When you start talking about kids, when you're talking about a full immersion, what age does that start? Like, what is that? How do you navigate that? And how do you make sure that the child understands what's real and what's not, right? Because you already have the issue with just video games in general. So to add 3D, virtual reality, and that on top of that, it becomes a thing. But I truly believe that there is a space in between there that still incorporates real time, real life. You can still incorporate the technology, and like I envision, like you remember the movie like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Where you had like you had live people, and then you had them right beside the cartoons. I feel like there was a way to do that. And I am excited to be able to incorporate that into what we're doing at Rainbow Me Kids with our stories. Like a real life space.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. So much fun. And that whole happy medium is important to hold as a focal point, and never lose sight of that. I could easily see getting lost in one or the other, but that sacred tone, whatever that is, it should be the goal, always allowing the humanity to maintain its own expression. That has to be somewhere. That has to be. I mean, just like you said, native speakers, just that one addition helped everything. Helped everything. I mean, whenever you hear those robotic voices, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that you distance
It's a
yourself.
disconnect. It's a
Yes,
disconnect. Like,
you
who is
do.
this?
Who
Yeah.
is it? They
Right.
don't care about me,
Right. Yes.
I'm just a number.
Right.
But hearing an authentic voice like that, you connect. I mean, that
Yeah.
is the human connection right there. So I'm
Agreed.
really thankful that you can use your powers for good.
I'm definitely trying. I'm definitely trying. I don't want to, I don't want to be the monster when it comes to technology. I hope people look at me as trying to be like the nice.
Right. You're
nice
trying to incorporate it all.
Yeah, exactly. In a way that's fun and still, again, just still where the children don't get lost.
Yes. Yes. And they still I like that you said they still have to read the book.
Yes.
I
Yes.
really, that is so important. It almost like should be a requirement
Hmm.
um, for it, and we will find that place. Like when audiobooks came, I did not know when I first heard about it that it would be such a different experience to hear
Yeah.
the author read.
Reading their book. Yeah.
Reading their book, that is like its own production that you got to
Right.
hear separate and apart from your
You
own
read
reading of the book.
absolutely because
It's
you're
an
reading it.
addition.
It really is, right? Like you're reading it in your voice and your expression, and how you receive it, and then to
Yeah,
hear the author reading it and how they intended it to be heard in your mind.
interpreted, yes.
I agree. I think it's really really cool. I have the 1619 project on audiobook. I also
Oh,
have
you
the book, but
do.
yes, but it's been
Mm-hmm.
cool to because they're actually different authors that
Okay,
are reading it. Because
okay.
it's interposed with poetry and history, so it's been really really cool so far. Listening to
There's
it.
room for it all.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
really is room for it all.
I agree.
I was just thinking of another format. Oh yeah, when Kindles first came out, I remember being blown away when a customer came up to the table and all I had were books, and she's like, "Oh, I have that on my Kindle." But after the book signing, she came out, she's like, "Oh yeah, I need the book too." I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
really?" She's like, "Well, yeah." She was just like, "Of course, I need the book too." And I was just like, "Oh, that's delightful," to hear, because I'm thinking it's either or, and it's
Right.
not.
It is not. No. Mm-mm.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's both, and keep them coming, and we'll integrate them in,
Yep.
and it's all good. Now, yeah, sure, some may not use their powers for good,
Right.
but
Right. There's always, yeah, unfortunately.
right, but hopefully critical minds will prevail.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
that's what we have to hope for, that critical minds will um, gather
Yes.
and keep creating, just keep creating. So when you talked with the AR team,
Hmm.
how much did you have to flesh out? Was it an entire script? And like each page you had to say, okay, I want 10 minutes or 10 seconds or whatever. How did that layout
So
work?
exactly. So I knew I wanted the character to introduce a little bit more about their story. Some of the characters have to pronounce their names because the names are a little difficult to
Mm,
pronounce. And then I wanted to make sure that they um, told their country of origin. And so what I had to do was I actually wrote out the scripts and then got the voiceovers from the different voice actors, and then what the AR team did, the first thing they did was they took, so the first, well, I'm sorry, I'm feel like I'm jumping all over the place. So I had the physical book completed first.
Okay.
And the AR team took the images and created 3D models from all of my characters. And with the 3D models, they took the script, and you're absolutely right. Each page, it was like, okay, this is what this character is saying. What do you want this character to be doing?
Wow. Wow.
All right. What do you want this character to be doing as they're talking? And, for the first book, I was like, I want it to pop, but I keep it pretty simple. And the first book has fairly simple animation. There are a few things flying, or, some magic drums and stuff coming out. But for the most part, the animation was really fairly simple. But yeah, it was going through each page, and, is this what you like? Is this what you like? And it went from there. Yeah, so it took about that process itself was about 7 or 8 months long.
Because that's even more detailed than if you had to direct a play or something. It seems like you would be even more detailed.
You're having kind of tell a story within the story, and you're having, I guess you're right. I guess in a play they do have the lines, and then they have what the
enter,
doing, the action as well. So you're right. And then with the second book, I wanted it to be more interactive. So we added some songs to the second book, and then we added where you could dance with the character.
Wow.
The second book.
So, okay, I'm recognizing the time, and we've been talking about this technology without doing the demonstration. Oh my gosh. So let us please pause for to have a look live at this technology.
Yes. And so, Zinga, so do you want me to read the whole book, or do you want me just to read
a portion? I think would be good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'll read like the first like 5 characters and O is
that
for
sounds
Oshun,
good.
and then I'll show the animation. All right. So O is for Oshun. And it has on the first page, it has your instructions. Everybody's like, well, how does it work? So it has your instructions on the first page on what to do. It says, enjoy reading the book, then download the Rainbow Me Kids app for Android or iPhone. Select the O is for Oshun book and point the tablet or phone at the character on each page and watch the characters come to life. The O is for Oshun. It says A is for Beyonc, the proud princess whose need for perfection landed her in a mess. B is for Basilio, the beetle rewarded for winning the race. C is for the Calabash Kids, fruit that came to life to take care of Shando's place. D is for Demani and Demonzana, the twins who got in trouble over meat. E is for Ephraim Duke, the king with a magic drum beat. All right, so I'll stop there.
Okay.
The first 5 characters. And then, so I have my phone. Y'all excuse my beat up case here. It's been
good. You got a case, right? You got to have a case.
Exactly. And if you see here, if it's the Rainbow Me Kids app that I've already downloaded, I've already opened it, so it's just going to open to the character. But when you first open it, it will actually have the prompts, and it again gives you the directions.
And it's free, everyone. It's free, everyone.
The app is free. Yes. I'm gonna turn around so that you can see. Let me try to get close to the computer there. All right. So when you take the phone and put it over the character.
Oh, I see her.
Who do you want to marry? Anybody. I was tricked. My story is from the Account people of Ghana.
Again, she's 3D, so you can move all the way around. That's
Okay.
Beyonc. And then you just repeat it. And each character comes.
That silly little rat thought he could beat me, but didn't know I could fly. That's how this Brazilian beetle got its colors.
So
Uh,
it automatically knows to go to the page.
Right. When the camera picks up the page, there's a marker
Oh,
on the page so it knows which
mhm.
characters to animate.
Okay. Wow.
Shindo's wish brought us to life right in her garden. Our folklore tale comes from the country of Tanzania.
All right.
So
I'll go through.
wonderful.
Yeah, I read through
So
each, so I'll go through each.
I just love it to pieces.
Okay. Here you go.
We are Demane and Demanzana, and we ran away from home into the woods, and the man-eating goblins almost ate us up. Our story comes from the country of South Africa.
Now go
Mhm.
through Ephraim Duke is one of my favorites. I like him.
Yes, yes.
I am a Nigerian king named Ephraim Duke. My magical drum feeds hundreds and keeps peace when I tap it.
Awesome.
And you just repeat it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's just a new dimension of learning, especially hearing those voices. As a child, I'm just imagining, when they grow up, it won't be so different. It'll
Right.
just be, what's the
Right.
big deal?
Exactly.
What's the big deal?
Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
my. You are definitely to be commended.
Thank you.
I am so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is just such an awesome thing to me. And I want to let everyone know we do have a limited number of already autographed
Yeah.
copies available. So you can go to afriwarebooks.com and just do a search for either Oshun or Kofi,
Yes.
Kofi, and purchase your copy, because you got to have this for your child or the adult in your life
Listen, it's so
who
funny. We got a lot of on our when we have an ad on Facebook, and we get a lot of people. They're like, I want this for myself. Like this
Okay.
is I get this for myself. I was like, girl, we don't judge. Get it for yourself. It's a no judgment zone.
I tell you, it's like that. It has that impact on you. It's just so
Yeah.
different. It's so unique. I just
Thank you.
really commend you. Really
Thank
commend
you
you
so
for
much.
it. And
Thank you.
I love that there's like total of 26 coming.
Yes.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
coming. It's
An
coming.
entire series. That is so rare. For African American series. I've seen, like 12,
Yeah.
but it's just too few and far
Yeah.
between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree.
glad your sites are there and looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Keep us posted
Thank
on
you.
the future ones. Whenever they come out, we'd love to have you back, because this is not going anywhere. This technology is here to stay. This
Right.
quarantine and all of its delta, zeta, whatever,
Right.
we're going to be, spending a lot of time behind the computer. So,
Yeah.
why not add a exciting dimension to your reading experience? This is the future.
It is. It is. I mean, again, I talked about the metaverse earlier, but yeah, this is definitely where everything is going. Virtual reality,
Yeah.
augmented reality. You're going to see more of it in the future. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And iterations like this, are they add value to the
Mhm.
learning experience.
Mhm.
They don't take anything from it. Graphic novels at one point were I'll say, not taken as serious by some parents just
Mhm.
because they were cartoons or whatever.
Right.
But it adds such an important balance
Yeah.
to the technical side of a human being's development,
Yes.
and makes them much more well-rounded and better to communicate with the world. So
Yes. Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed.
it's all it is all adding. It is not subtracting. It
Yes.
is all adding.
Yes. Yes.
So my gosh, this has been a wonderful exchange. I feel like we're like buddies. You know. And Argel, I want to thank you for being such a great communicator in between us. Because when
Yes.
we
Thank you
first
very
started
much.
talking, I was just like, but it's Oshun, it's Oshun. He's like, and he was just trying to explain. I was just like, I know, this is so important. You know, it was so funny.
Argel, yes, Argel has been amazing. Argel has been such a godsend. Like,
Thank you
he
very
has
much.
been able to reach out and just help us, help us spread the word about. It's like, hey, we have this really cool thing. We really think, that it's something that would be good in your space, and
Yes.
Zika, we absolutely appreciate Afriware for being a Rainbow Me retail partner and carrying our books. Thank you for what you do as a bookstore yourself, but also just thank you for considering us, and I really, really appreciate it. We are thankful. It was Thanksgiving week, and we are absolutely thankful.
Thank you so much for that, for reaching out, because it does take a conscientious action
Yeah.
to make that happen. Because,
Yeah.
the first thing comes to mind are all the big boxes. And it's like, well, wait a minute, what about
Right.
what about the Black owned bookstores? We are here,
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for that. Wow. So I'm going to end it here unless there's anything else. Argel, did we miss anything? Just do a quick
I think everything
sanity
has
check.
been covered. Yeah.
Okay. Because we got in a little zone there. We got in a
Yeah. I
zone.
think you just need to fix the first part of the recording, I guess. But
Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick
yeah.
re-intro and just tack it right on. I have iMovie, I can make that happen.
Great.
But I think we got the heart and soul of it though.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, thank everyone.
Thank you, Nzinga.
Thank you so much,
Gonna
Zinga.
appreciate you.
You have a wonderful holiday. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Happy everything. I
Thanksgiving.
don't particularly celebrate Thanksgiving, but the sentiment I
Okay.
adore,
Awesome.
I
So
adore that part of it.
happy
So
celebration time.
thank you. Yes. Thank you. And the same to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.